When talking about minerals, we also need to talk about how they form, because their formation is key to making them minerals. So normally minerals will form out of hot material. The substance that makes minerals needs to be hot. Minerals are often confused with rocks because rocks contain a bunch of different minerals in a single rock. So in order to get a mineral by itself, we have to melt the rocks. And so many minerals will start out as liquids that are hot enough to melt rock. And so we get this heat from either magma or lava. And in science, there's a distinction between the two. In everyday language, the terms magma and lava get used interchangeably. But magma is melted rock that's located inside the earth. And this can be hotter than 1,000 degrees Celsius. Since it's kind of insulated by the earth, it takes a long time to cool. This gives the crystals a really long time to grow. And so when magma cools inside the earth and we get that long cooling period, we get crystals that are big enough to be seen without using a microscope. So the example here is all of these different colors, the pinks, the grays, the whites, the blacks, they're all example of mineral crystals. And since they're large enough for us to see without a microscope, we know that this rock, so this is a rock because it has a bunch of different minerals in it. So that rock had to cool deep within Earth's surface because it took a long time for those crystals to get big enough for us to see without a microscope. Lava is magma that is on Earth's surface. So this would be melted rock. Magma is melted rock, and it's located on Earth's surface. Lava cools much more quickly because it's not insulated by the Earth's materials. And so the crystals do not have time to form and are very, very small on the microscopic scale. So another way that minerals can form is they can form from a solution. So a solution is when water contains dissolved chemical elements. So like salt water is an example of a solution because the water has dissolved the salt. Various processes cause elements to combine to form solid minerals. So what can happen is when the water evaporates, it's going to leave behind that solid precipitate. So here in picture A, we have our jar of water, and we have green particles dissolved in it and purple particles dissolved in it. As the water evaporates, notice that the number of particles stays the same. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 green ones and 4 purple, and the number of those dissolved particles stay the same. And so they will eventually be left behind as almost a residue when that water entirely evaporates. So when there are too many minerals, the particles will come together to form solid minerals. And so main minerals that precipitate out of water would be halite and calcite. And we can get these amazing structures, maybe green's not the best color, over here, of salt or halite and calcite that have been left behind when the water that surrounded them evaporated. Back underground, magma can heat water underground, and the hotter the water, so hotter water equals greater ability to dissolve substances. So we have this magma heating up water, and remember, magma can be about 1,000 degrees Celsius, so that water can get really, really hot, and so it dissolves away a lot of the rocks, and it causes the water to pick up those dissolved particles. Then the water can flow through open spaces in the rocks, and as it gets further and further away from that magma, it's going to start to cool, and that cooling will allow it to deposit solid minerals. And we get a couple structures when this happens. The first would be veins, which is up here, and this is mineral deposits that form when minerals fill cracks in the rocks, and so they look literally like your veins in your arms. Sometimes minerals are deposited in open spaces, so like there's a big hollow space, which allows the water to get deposited in there, and large crystals will form, and we call these geodes. And so this is just a quick look at how some minerals are formed.